Episode 6 answered a lot of our questions, but how did it end up keeping us on the edge of our seats for the finale? Find out in this week's review of Mare of Easttown.
Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ken, and today we're going to be reviewing episode 6 of Mare of Easttown, titled Sore Must Be the Storm. So,
yes,
we got a lot to get into with this episode. We're going to talk about just our full thoughts and emotions of this episode here in a second. But before we do that, we want to ask that if you all haven't yet subscribed with the Married with Media channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more great content. We're going to be reviewing all kinds of TV shows, including this one that we're talking about right now, movies, lots of stuff on streaming. So if you like that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. And also be sure to like this video and comment down below your thoughts on episode 6 of Mare of Easttown. So, let's talk about episode 6, because there's a lot of stuff that happened here. And to be honest, it feels like they gave everything away with this episode.
You know, it kind of does. We've kind of talked about like what's left besides, I guess, the like final showdown that I think is going to happen in the finale. Yeah,
judging by the last 3 minutes, because there's a real cliffhanger in this episode. They want you to come back next Sunday for sure. Oh yeah,
for sure. And I'll be there.
But it still felt like we know everything.
Right. Yeah. It seemed like they were just giving it all away in this episode. But I still have hope that they will throw in some surprises for us, so that there is still some like shock factor. Yeah,
it's just because this is a very new show and we don't know enough about it. It's like I can't fully put my faith into that.
Right.
But I hope so.
I
hope
we'll
so.
See.
This was definitely a weaker episode for me. This was probably, to be honest with you, my least favorite episode.
Okay, wow.
Of the entire season. It was still good.
Yeah.
I still liked it. I still think this is a very strong show. I'm unsure about a lot of directions and shifts that they've taken after the events of last episode with Evan Peters' death and everything. So that's just how I'm feeling right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I get that. This episode for me, I thought was pretty fantastic from start to finish. I was super into it. I didn't get bored at all. And I was just like, on the edge of my seat. So
yeah. And
for me, it was a great
one thing
episode.
I'll say, that this is like an emotional roller coaster.
Oh,
this
yeah,
episode.
for sure.
It's a lot of, I don't want to say it's slow, but there's just a lot of real emotional scenes.
Right, feelings.
Like, I know that me and you were both sitting there, not really talking much for like maybe a good 20 minutes of this show, because it's all like crying and sobbing and sad story and tragedy and dealing with grief and all of that stuff.
Right. I mean, they do a really good job at making you feel the emotions for sure. So props to the actors and actresses.
Yeah, like Kate Winslet is just incredible.
Yeah.
Like I think this is probably the best she's ever been in anything that I've seen her in. I think she's like next level. I think that people should be studying like the things that she does with her performance in this show.
Yeah, for sure. She is pretty awesome.
So let's get into kind of breaking down this episode. So I don't think I noted in the beginning, but this is a spoiler heavy review and recap. We're going to get into things that's going to be spoiler territory.
Right.
So if you haven't yet watched this episode yet, turn the video off right now. Go watch the episode. Then come back and watch the rest of our review. So, we open up this episode with Mare in the hospital. Of course, this is taking place right after the events of last episode. She gets shot. She's in the hospital. She's opening up her eyes. You see her family all standing around the room.
Right.
What did you think of this, of her coming back, regaining consciousness, this scene?
I thought that was a pretty good opening. I liked the, kind of in and out of consciousness. So you don't know, like, quite how many days have passed. Yeah. But, assuming a few, maybe a week. But then we get to see her get released. Of course, it is all over the news now that they have, found the kidnapper, that he's dead.
News clips of the girls reuniting with their families.
They've found the girls. And so reporters are kind of following Mare home. And so we get all that. But we still don't know who killed Aaron yet.
Yep, because at this point, it's very clear those are two distinct things.
Right.
The person that did the kidnapping is not the same, or at least as far as we know. It could be, and that could be revealed in episode 7. That could be the thing that we don't know yet.
Right.
That they are related, but as of right now, they're not. It feels like they're two different things.
Well, yeah, I think there was also a scene, you might not remember it, but it's the chief and Mare talking, and he said that, even though the kidnapper is now dead and they can't, talk to him, they were able to verify that he was not in town the night that Aaron was killed. So it for sure was not him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the chief gives Mare her badge back.
Right, Mare gets the
She's
badge
back on the case.
Back on the case.
The old guy that was annoying to Evan Peters is gone.
He's gone.
And then we can get into the thing that I didn't like about this episode. And I don't like how quickly they just glossed over Evan Peters' death. He kind of felt like an afterthought in this episode.
He really did. With it being such a...
And Colin Zobel is his name. I'm sorry.
Right.
Keep forgetting to mention that.
Yeah, we just like to call him Evan.
I like to call him Quicksilver.
Right. But, yeah, I feel like, with the shorter TV series, sometimes it can get, hard to get, like, super attached to a character because there's not a ton of time, that you're bonding with the character, so to speak. Yeah. But I still feel like he was in enough episodes. You got to see his, funny, witty personality.
Yeah, he was definitely he was probably my favorite character behind Mare.
Right. He was just, one of those characters that you like. And so, yeah, they kind of just disposed of him like an afterthought.
Yeah, there's some stuff here and there, but even like we talked about the scene with her and Guy Pearce where they're kind of talking about, I went on a date with Evan Peters instead of going on a date with you. And they're just, the way they're talking about him, I just didn't like. It was kind of like very dismissive of him like as a person.
Right.
And like he didn't matter.
Right.
And then even like we can go into her and the therapist scene, which is a very emotional scene talking about her son's death. But there's no mention of Evan Peters in that as well. And maybe what he meant to her.
And that maybe because it's just kind of a time problem. They're running out of time to tell all the...
And I understand, obviously, Evan Peters is not going to mean as much to her as her son.
Right.
Like, so that's not going to be the focal point of that. But I just thought maybe it would come up somewhere.
Yeah. But I think, they just wanted to finally get it out there, what happened with her son. And
we can go into talking about that now since I kind of broke that open. What did you think of that with her therapist? And she goes back to her therapist. Her therapist is like, you don't really need to be here. The police chief is not mandating you do this. Right.
You can definitely tell that Mare has warmed up to getting therapy. She knows that she hasn't healed from the trauma of her son, and with the death of her coworker.
Yeah.
She knows that it's not going to be good if she doesn't start addressing all of these traumas. So she, the therapist asked her to walk her through the day that her son committed suicide. And so that was definitely a very emotional scene for sure.
Yeah, very emotional, just how she talks about it and then how they shoot it, show it. And then you realize why her daughter is very angry at her now. And it all makes sense because we were talking about this. Why is her kid so angry with her? Why is everybody treating her this way? And it's because she made her go check on him. That's why she was the first person to see him dead.
Right. So, we just get the rundown of Mare saying that she was at the grocery store. At this point, her son was like super into drugs. He would come by and basically break into their house to try to like steal money and stuff. So Mare had got word that her son had been seen trying to get into the house. Goes, has her daughter go check on him because Mare's at the grocery store or something. And so yeah, Siobhan goes and finds him hanging in the attic. She's on the ground crying, and you get this very like emotional scene of Mare stumbling up the stairs, falling back down, climbing back up, and she just describes having to cut him down.
Yeah, it was a very horrific scene because it shows just the feet of her son hanging and kind of swaying. It's like straight out of a horror movie. It was.
Yeah, and I mean, just her talking about how she had to cut him down, and she described how heavy his body was and how she held him until the paramedics came, and just being a mother, I could feel. I'm going to start crying. I could just feel the emotion.
This was an episode all about, I think, like Mare just coming to terms with her own grief and the fact that she does need help.
Right.
And she's realizing that in this episode. So let's get into all this cousin drama, because we can just chalk up all these events as because this all kind of relates together, and this is where we really get into the like meat and potatoes of the episode, where all the information just starts coming at us and spilling, and this is why we feel at the end of the episode like we know everything, because all of this stuff just keeps unfolding within like 30 minutes of each other. But there's the first scene with Lori and Mare on the couch, talking about her husband's cheating on her again, and he goes and moves in with the dad.
Right, he moves back in with I don't know, is their
mom? The dad and Billy, because Billy's living there too, which is the other cousin.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the mother is dead or.
I don't know. You don't see the mother. I'm assuming she's not in the picture anymore, because the dad felt like he was by himself.
Right. So the dad is kind of like, great, what I always wanted in retirement, having both of my grown ass sons, living with me again.
And then you get into this scene of him and his dad talking, and then his dad basically tells him.
Oh, that scene was really good. You could tell that the dad, he had his glass of water. He's like, I need to talk to you. Yeah,
I mean, I almost thought he was having a heart attack or a stroke or something. And then he brought him over, and he's like, I need to talk to you. And then they go back and replay the night of Aaron's death, and how he talks about how he sees Billy in the laundry room at that night with blood all over him. And it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, so it would have been like the perfect time.
Right.
And then he says, I think that Billy killed Aaron.
Right.
And then that's the first piece of information that we get. And by then, you're pretty much like, yes, I told you.
Right.
It was
because
Billy.
I have been thinking, well, I wasn't quite sure if he had murdered her or if he was just the father's baby. But we'll get into that too, because there's like a whole nother layer to everything. But that scene was really like tense. Mm-hmm. And you could tell that the brother John, he didn't want to quite believe it. But then again, I think he kind of like.
Well, as we reveal later, like this is all in line with each other. All these things have stuff. Like we think that John's like being surprised and shocked here.
Right.
I don't read that as that anymore at this point in time.
Right.
I think at this point he's shocked that his dad knew about it.
Right. True.
Because I think that he knew about it all along.
Right. So we might
which we'll get into in a second, because then you go into the scene with John and Billy talking with each other.
Right. So that is kind of interesting now that I think about it, because there's the scene afterwards where John goes to talk to Billy, and he's basically like, I need you to say it.
Yeah, I need you
to say what you did.
And at first we read that as he just really wants to know if he did it or not.
Right. But now I'm kind of thinking.
He needs him to say it. Did he record him? Is something to do with that? I don't know. They don't really show a recorder in that scene.
Right.
But there's definitely something going on with John. But they talk. He admits that he killed her. And then, is that when they go fishing? Is that when he asked him to go fishing?
So.
No, because there's another scene with John and Lori.
Right. So John, like we said, he's not at home with Lori anymore because she's kicked him out. He goes back home, though, to talk to Lori because, I guess he still trusts her. Basically tells her
I don't think it means that anymore at all. I don't think he went to talk to her because he trusts her.
Oh, okay.
I think he went to talk to her because he knows that she would tell Mare, and that's going to bring Mare to him. Why he wants that, I don't know. We're going to find out.
Interesting. Did you just come to that right now? Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, so he goes to Lori and he basically tells everything. And he's kind of like, I need you to keep this a secret for our family.
Yeah.
And so then we see Billy say, I'm gonna go confess. I'm going to turn myself in. And then John is like, well, why don't we all just go fishing one last time before you do that? Which was super weird. Could definitely tell that something was...
When murder cases and investigations are involved and somebody asks you to go fishing.
Right.
You never do it. Never do it.
Really? You want to go fishing now when I just told you that I killed someone? And
yeah.
So yeah, that was super weird. Definitely made me think, okay, what is John up to now?
Yeah.
Now John's on my radar.
He's on the radar big time.
Yeah. So you have
Lori and Mare talk, and then that's when Lori's trying to hold back from her for like the first 30 seconds, and then she just kind of cuts loose. Yeah.
At first, we kind of think that Lori's not going to tell her.
She's just like, what am I doing? It's like, I can't keep a secret for one, and for another, you're my best friend, and my husband's an asshole that cheated on me, so who cares? I'm just going to tell you everything.
So, even if your theory is right about him wanting Mare to come to him.
I think that now.
I don't think, hopefully Lori would not, know, is not in on the plan. Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm not saying that Lori's on the plan at all. I just think he knows his wife and knows how close she is with Mare and knew what would happen.
Right, yeah.
Why he wants Mare to find them, I don't know. So yeah, a lot of stuff. And then we end on the scene of Mare walking up to find them. And then you cut back to the police chief, and somebody brings him a picture.
The best friend of Aaron.
The best friend.
She had kept this picture from the journals before they got burned.
And they were like, why do you want to destroy these? Because there's a whole scene in here which we didn't get into, but with baby daddy, not baby daddy,
right? We call not him. Baby daddy, which his name is Dylan.
Yeah, tracking her down and saying, "Why'd you go to the cops?" And then basically,
Aaron's best friend basically told the cops that they burnt the journals.
Yeah, but she kept that picture, I guess.
Yeah, she kept this picture, which is super important in this episode because she turns it in. Whatever is on this picture, we do not get to see this episode, which was super frustrating.
Nope.
Because the chief looks at it and he's kind of like, and he calls Mare right away. She's still on her way to
we need to call Mare.
We need to call Mare immediately. Yes.
And then she's still walking up on him, close up on her face.
Even
fade
though
to black, it's over.
Yeah, even though the chief told her to wait for backup.
Oh,
Mare's not going to wait for backup.
Mare ain't waiting for no backup. No. She going straight in.
So, yeah, it was just super tense for me. I'm like, what the hell happened? I need to know. I can't wait another week.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Overall, you want to go into
we could go into our rating. So for this episode, like I said, I was definitely not as high on this one as I was last week. Still think it's a solid episode. It's television. I'm not saying it's not. Mm-hmm. I would give this a 3.5.
Oh, wow.
Out of a 5. So I gave last week's a 4.5 out of a 5.
Gotcha.
So.
And see, that one wasn't as great for me. I felt like it was super anticlimactic, but you already know that. So for me, I'm going to give this episode a 4.5.
There we go.
Yep.
There we go.
I really enjoyed it.
Not opposite ends of the spectrum, but
yeah,
kind of opposite, but that's okay. It's okay.
So yeah, I am definitely looking forward to the finale.
Yep. And like guys, next week we will be live, hopefully at 11 or 11:30, whatever the kids allow us to do. And if for some reason we can't go live, then we're going to have the episode up as early as we can on Monday. Mm-hmm. We'll shoot we may go live on Monday, maybe.
Yeah.
Possibly, but we'll figure something out. But again, thank you all for joining us on this week's review of Mare of Easttown, episode 6. Sore must be the Soren. I have to keep looking down every single time. But please comment down below your thoughts on this episode. If you have any thoughts at all, if you've seen it, leave it in the comment section below. We love reading your comments, responding back to you guys. Definitely comment down below. Subscribe, turn on the bell notifications for all of those future videos. And we'll see you guys later.